Hi, and welcome to another watercolor painting process video. Today I'm going to be painting Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. Hi, my name is Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 25 years now, and I'm here to empower you. So today I'm going to be painting painting this. I say painting, but I'm actually basically coloring it. It's a cartoony drawing. I decided I wanted to start doing more cartoony looking stuff and just coloring it with watercolor, which is a little bit different than when I do a painting. With a painting, I can kind of it's more about values and things like that. But when it's coloring and the more cartoony stuff, it has bright colors, and there is some shadows and but I'm not comfortable in the process. I haven't found a look or a final that I'm quite comfortable with. That looks like something that I want. I'm not sure what I want, but I'm exploring it for right now. So this was my first attempt at doing a final color, and I did it in a very specific way. I think that I kind of learned my lesson from this. I think I'm going, and then I'll talk a little bit about it in the video here, and it's sped up. So it took me about an hour to just color it. So just a little something behind what I'm trying to do. So this time around, I decided I have this Shiro Masamune book, and then I took this drawing of Major Kusanagi, and I decided that I kind of wanted to do that. But I didn't want to do a direct copy of it. I just wanted to just kind of bounce off from that and do that, but with a Major Kusanagi that looks a little bit more like the one from the standalone complex, season 3, the currently on Netflix. I don't know how long it's going to be there, but their standalone complex series. There's season 1 and 2, and then the third one's in CG. So I kind of wanted to look a little bit more like that, so I changed it, and then I kind of took the cues off of the standalone complex for the hair, so it's more purple, but it's kind of it's the same pose ish, and I mean it's a copy but not a copy. It's just a variation. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that maybe I'm gonna want to do more copy / variations of stuff like that. Why? Because I'm lazy, and I sometimes don't know what to do, but I want to do something, and it's sometimes just easier to copy something and then just enjoy the process of making something. That's a lot of fun. Another thing is that I've been doing a lot of iconography looking artwork, and the thing about icons and iconographers is that they tend to copy each other, and they tend to find an icon, and then they try to duplicate that icon, and that's a sign of respect, and that's a sign of the icon being good. If you copy the icon over and over, if an icon gets copied over and over and over, it means that icon really means something. First of all, a copy, a photocopy or a print of an icon is nowhere near. It doesn't have the sacredness of an actual physical copy. So that's one reason. Like, an icon has value only if it's an original. It's not a print. So what you do is you copy the icon so you could have a version of it, a real original version of it. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that, like I said, it means something. So having that mindset, understanding that mindset, that's why copying something so that you can not only just have a version of it, but you could have an original art version of it, isn't as bad as you may think, and it's actually a legitimate idea or notion, I think. So I'm thinking of doing copies like that for a reason, like for those kinds of reasons. It makes sense. Not that copying a drawing that you like is sacred, but it's a little bit more meaningful because it's tactile, it's real, it's an actual original rather than a print, right? Okay, so anyway, without further ado, here's the process. All right, so as I usually do, I did a hand drawing beforehand. And I spent a bit of time on the line drawing here. So I'm going to tell you the very first thing that I'm going to change next time I do this, next month when I do another postcard. Absolutely, 100%. I'm going to ink it first. I'm not. I decided this time around because I was thinking that I was really paranoid that the ink was going to smudge with the water. This is something that tends to happen with markers. Sometimes you want to, with the markers, you want to color first and then ink because the alcohol tends to melt the ink and it tends to smudge. But ink, if you're using the right type of ink, is waterproof, and it shouldn't have a problem with you going in after the fact and coloring over your line. And so the reason why I'm going to do that next time is because while I was coloring this before I inked it, I actually lost the accuracy, the line quality that the lines that I had put. I was very careful about what lines to leave and where it needs to be. And then when I inked it, it was off, and it kind of bugs me the way that it ended up. Once I inked it, it wasn't quite what I wanted. So at this point, I thought that this was it. To be honest, like I came in and I put in these colors, and I thought that this was it. So here's the theory behind what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to place the local colors of the figure, and if you saw, I was using a hand dryer, not a hand dryer, but a hair dryer to dry the ink. I mean, to dry the water, so in order to ink. But this is something that I usually don't do is use a hair dryer to dry my watercolors, which is it's very handy. I'm going to do that a little bit more if I can. But so the idea is to put in the local colors. But when you put in the local colors, you don't put a flat local color. What you want to do is you want to put a gradient local color so that it shifts to a different color, even though it should be just one local color. That was the idea. That was but how successful that was, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to work on that a lot more. Trying to put down the local color with a gradient is something that I'm not good at or used to, and I'm gonna try to get better at it. So I thought that I was pretty much done, and that when I inked it, it was going to be done. And then I realized that that wasn't the case. It was so light. The color was so light and had no vibrancy that I needed to go over it again and add another layer to try to pull out more color and make it more bright, because I wanted it to be a lot more saturated than it was. So I went in and put another layer, but the way that I put the layer, I made it into more of a gradient. And so also another thing that I did when I was inking it is I smudged the hell out of this drawing. Like the ink, the way that I inked it, I ended up smudging a lot of it, and that was really, really irritating. Something I didn't really anticipate. But so here I am. I added a little bit of blue to make things a little bit darker, and I started adding a little bit of brown on the drawing too to make things a little bit darker in certain areas, to add the shadows. And that's something that I tend to do when I'm doing a little bit more realistic stuff, is adding browns and a lot more blues to just kind of push the dark. But because I wanted this to be much more saturated and bright and not so shadow heavy, I was really scared to add browns and blues. I again, more experimentation is needed for this stuff. Here you saw me just try to dry the ink with the hair dryer. But yeah, I thickened things up and I started adding some finishing touches here and tried to fix some of the smudges. But that's basically it. I learned a lot of lessons. This is basically the process. I'll do it a little bit different next time. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.